non-aggression. Once that lesson sets in, you'll see a session where you...
Welcome to 3 Count Commentary. So let's talk about NXT for February the 7th, 2023. The inevitable has finally occurred. They broke up Toxic Attraction. They broke them up. Everybody saw this coming. I think everybody saw it coming. So Bayley, she's the first thing that you see when the show starts. So you know that, she's here for a reason. And of course, she's here to host Ding Dong Hello, which is her talk show. And they were kind of pressed on time for this because this thing didn't start until 10 o'clock. So Bayley introduces Toxic Attraction, and JC is being JC. She's still in character and, still doing the old Toxic Attraction entrance and everything. And Gigi is very somber, hands down at her side, not really energetic, kind of a disappointed, dejected look to her face. Bayley is still selling the shoulder from from the cage match, but Auntie Pam was cooking grub nonetheless. She looked good, like a big in the next time. You look good. Anyway, the Toxic Attraction has a seat, and then they immediately start bickering, back and forth, kind of things. But JC saying that Gigi wasn't a team player, with Gigi saying that she's a star, and that JC Jane would immediately sink into obscurity without her. As they argue, Bayley suggests that, having friends in this business is easier than trying to make it on your own. Gigi says that everybody hates her. Toxic Attraction has been her life for 3 years. She doesn't have any other friends. While JC Jane says she's done worse. She's even worse than Gigi. But she recognizes that there's strength in numbers and how important it is for somebody to have your back. Jason says she can't lie. When she gets angry, she kind of goes for the jugular. But no matter what happens, they're sisters, and JC agrees. Then they said, we have an option. We can either separate or we can go on one more run. And then they suggest maybe one more run, either with the NXT tag team titles or the WWE tag team championship. So Bayley was like, look, nope, we're not going to do that. We're not playing that game. So she started inching towards the door, saying that, hey, giving herself tons of credit for bringing Toxic Attraction back together. They hug. Everything like is about to go good. And then JC Jane super kicks Gigi in the face, throws her into the door. And then, my God, put her entire boot from toe to sole through that wooden door using Gigi's face. I mean, she stomped that damn door so hard. I felt so bad for Gigi. She was crying the entire time too. Which was weird. It was very weird for her to be like weeping because JC jumped her, but that was kind of strange. But that stomp through the door was something else. That was memorable. That was tough. So they broke them up, and let's take this piece by piece. So Bayley being there. Now, technically, Bayley didn't need to be there for this. She was basically just, hey, everybody don't change the channel when we put these two girls on the screen. You never know what Bayley's going to do. And it was a nice tease for the damage control thing, with Bayley only having one arm and everything. It kind of made her an easy target. But of course, if they attack Bayley, then what happens? Bayley turns babyface. So you can't do that. And that didn't really occur to me until right before the super kick. When they did the wide shot, I was like, okay, somebody's about to attack somebody. And I was like, now it would make sense for them to both attack Bayley and to set up chasing the damage control for the women's tag team titles. But doing that, of course, like I said, would turn Bayley babyface. So I said, okay, so one of these two is about to turn on each other. For starters, they gave them the main event spot, the show closing angle. So something was going to happen. I thought maybe momentarily Mandy Rose would return to bring them back together, but that was just kind of a fleeting thought that I had. Now, I think Gigi's body language, her facial expressions and everything kind of told you that something bad was going to happen in this thing too. Because JC was herself. pretty much uncaring about what happened. Ultimately, I liked the segment. I felt like it was kind of unnecessary and it went kind of long. And yeah, it felt like they were trying to forcefully recreate the ending of the Rockers. But I think, the thing is, you can't do it like you could in 1990, 1992 or whatever. Because a lot of these people grew up, they already know, heel turns happen, teams break up, and the company just loves breaking up tag teams. They love it. It's the lifeblood of WWE now, is to break up a tag team. So it wasn't really that much of a surprise. I think the biggest reaction of anything that occurred in this segment was the idea of Toxic Attraction fighting Damage Control. Which, the moment that they kind of said that, it was like, ooh, people were legitimately interested in that. But the kick and the attack did get a bit of a reaction. It got a little bit of a positive reaction too, as some people actually chanted for JC, while other people were actually more pro Gigi. It was substantially closer than it was at Vengeance Day. Vengeance Day, it was almost overwhelmingly pro Gigi. But Gigi as a solo act, as a solo babyface, I probably would have had Herbie to heel. Like, JC is really good. But I think that if you were going to push Gigi, it probably should have been as a heel. I don't know. Like, maybe I wouldn't have broken them up, and I maybe just would have slotted Gigi as being sort of the front of the team, and then just had JC be like her sidekick, at least for a little while, and then broke them up. Let the two of them rock as a pair first, and then, but that's just me. I don't know what they got planned. Of course, a lot of people are, furious because, the main roster could have used Toxic Attraction as a tag team, and which is true. As solo acts, they don't have much future. I just did an entire rant on Monday Night Raw, my review of Monday Night Raw, about how the young girls really ain't getting too many opportunities when it comes to the main roster. Now they are getting more opportunities on NXT. They actually get more time too. So them being solo acts on NXT is fine. It's time for them to spread their wings. So I do appreciate that part of it. That, Toxic Attraction has become a security blanket. And it's time for these girls to get out of there. It's time for them to do something else. Gigi has only done Toxic Attraction since she's been in WWE. Same thing for JC Jane. Except for when she was a jobber for a short time. So, since this is all they've ever known, this is an opportunity to do something different with them, to introduce new characters, new sides of their personalities. Of course, it's kind of run of the mill, because they did just break up Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez. They've broken up every tag team in the damn company at one point. Like pretty much everybody breaks up. So that's the part that makes me say, why did he get the final spot? Because it's like, not like breaking up a tag team is something that rarely happens in WWE. It's like, nah, it happens literally all the time. Some tag team breakups work out better than others. This one feels like it's going to work out fine. Like, there's an idea that's been floating around here. It comes across as kind of generic right now, but I'm seeing the vision. JC Jane is really good as a heel. Just not sure how Gigi's going to go as a babyface. Something tells me she's probably not going to be a babyface for long before she's a heel too, or she fucks around and gets called up. All right, let's move on to the rest of the show. Carmelo Hayes starts the show with Trick Williams. They tease doing the Mello is money gimmick with Trick Williams saying, oh no, not that one. As you've seen the short, Carmella is reclaiming her gimmick and she doesn't want these guys doing it. So Carmelo Hayes came up with another catchphrase, Mello in 2, to signify his thorough defeat of Apollo Crews. Then he says he got one more man to put on a t-shirt. At that point, JD McDonough, he appears. The guy's head is bigger than the rest of his body. He's literally like Mr. Mackey from South Park. He has a huge, what we call it, you call a noggin. Like I say, he built like a 9-year-old boy. Just head just bigger than the rest of his body. He's calling him Rock Head, something like that. It's huge head, just big head, bigger than the rest of his body. Human Funko Pop. So, Human Funko Pop, JD McDonough, claims that Carmelo Hayes is entitled, not fit to hold his jockstrap, let alone be the NXT champion. He's not ready to be the face of the brand. The two of them argue before they, of course, get to the challenge, which is accepted, and they decide to have the match same night because apparently Sean didn't book anything for this show, and everything needs to be done 10 minutes after you said something about it. The opening segment was okay. It was clear that Carmelo Hayes was about to call out Braun Breaker, but JD McDonough, the ultimate gatekeeper, he's in the way. He refuses to let other people challenge for the title. JD McDonough loses to Carmelo Hayes, as he should have, because Ilya Dragunov made his triumphant return. And he distracted JD McDonough. So while he's running to the ring, though, he did take out Trick Williams. So JD McDonough lost the match, but ended up fleeing from Ilya Dragunov, who he injured earlier. I say this, a lot of these NXT UK guys not injecting the energy that you would think. Like, the crowd loves Ilya Dragunov, they really do. But I'm a viewer watching TV at home, and a lot of these guys just come across as Eurograps dudes, like they wrestle. Like JD McDonough, he was cool in NXT UK, he was okay. But he's damn near Baron Corbin when it comes to being on NXT. He just comes across as an also-ran. And it doesn't help that in NXT they tend to actually, I think it maybe the way the show is shot, like similar to like NXT and NXT 2.0. Like NXT UK didn't have the most expensive, arena or anything like that. It was kind of dark, and they would really, the size of the performers and the way that they booked the show was so much better. Even though Sean was booking it then too, for some reason he booked NXT UK much better than he booked NXT. And I think maybe it's the difference of the American television products is, has to be a little bit different. And he probably just has an answer to other people. But, I'm just not feeling a lot of these European guys. I'm just not feeling it. Them coming in is literally not adding anything to me. Carmelo Hayes winning is like, of course he won. Why would he not win? But I would think you would have built this matchup to be a more legitimate main event. But at the same time, JD McDonough's a damn gatekeeper. What can you do? All right, so Fallon Henley and Kiana James, they're not getting it on. Fallon was upset that Kiana James cheated. She's also suspicious of what Kiana James has been doing behind Brooks Jensen's back. And throughout the night, we keep getting this surprise party that Brooks Jensen threw for Fallon Henley and Kiana James because he loves this tag team so much. So Fallon Henley says either Kiana James is going to tell him who she's been talking to, or she's going to tell, even though she doesn't know, she's just going to snitch. And they went back to that thing twice. The second time, Pretty Deadly was there, which is excellent because Pretty Deadly, they literally said they haven't slept in 2 days. They were a mess. Their hair was all over the place. Their clothes were dingy and like they just picked it up right off the floor and put it back on. It was shameful. And Chase University was there too, and they got into an argument. That was the second one. The third one, Brooks Jensen is, has something to tell Fallon Henley, and Fallon Henley has something to tell him. And they kind of go back and forth about, you talk, you know how that goes. So he goes first, and he says that he's going to go on his very first ever Valentine's date next week with Kiana James. He's so excited. Knowing this, Kiana James, she's not around at this point. So Fallon Henley is just Fallon Henley and Brooks Jensen. So now she knows that he's very excited for this first date, and she doesn't want to ruin it for him. So she just kind of says, "Oh, thank you for the big party or whatever." And it's like, oh, it was nice. It was a nice sentiment. Like I said, we've been doing this for a while now. It's been months since this whole Fallon, Henley, and Brooks Jensen thing. It goes way back to when they were introduced. So they've been dragging ass on this love triangle for a while now. I guess they had to introduce somebody else. So it's clear that Fallon Henley is, got the hots for Jensen. And she is suspicious, but she's really just kind of jealous. So that's kind of what we're going with this. But she's not jealous enough that she wants to ruin it for her friend. So that's a thing that occurred. Pretty Deadly also defeated Chase U in the match that they had. They defeated them because Thea Hale returned screaming like a banshee and shaking like a leaf on a tree after she got kidnapped by Ava Raine. Now, she got kidnapped by Ava Raine for reasons unknown, but here's the scenario that set it up. For some reason, Thea Hale saw Tiffany Stratton post something on social media. I think it was Instagram. She was running down Chase University. And so Thea Hale went to go talk to her about it and said, I don't understand why you don't like Chase University. And then Tiffany Stratton got real frustrated with this and told her that Chase University was tacky, cringy, and generally annoying. So Thea Hale says the only thing that Tiffany Stratton cares about is herself, while the only thing Thea Hale cares about is Chase University. And she says that Chase University is inclusive. She didn't use those words, but she just said Chase University accepts everybody. They don't care what they look like or who they are. And if you got a problem with that, they got two words for you. Tiffany Stratton naively thinks those two words are Chase U, but Thea Hale tells her to suck it. Which, since Tiffany Stratton looks like a porn star, it's probably not the best thing to say to somebody who looks like that. But as she dismissed Thea Hale for being vulgar, that's when Ava Raine grabbed her, and she was, missing for about 20 minutes. When she returned, she was covered in buttons. And Thea Hale is really over the top. She's really over the top. Like, she throws herself into everything they ask her to do. And it's really weird to see that kind of commitment, because you very rarely see that kind of commitment, especially in older performers. So for her to be so young and energetic, and she's really down for pretty much anything. So when they did the whole kidnapping angle, she really sold it. And then she oversold when she got free, and she was like sitting on the floor, rocking back and forth, jabbering. Like, I couldn't understand nothing she was saying. But she really oversold it. And I can appreciate, even if I don't think it's that great, I can appreciate her commitment to the gimmick and her commitment to throwing herself into this thing. But Chase University now has to deal with schism, apparently. Oh, that ought to be great. That ought to be a fun time for everybody, right? Fun time. Maybe Ava Raine will finally wrestle on a match or something. We still don't know why they kidnapped her, but I'm guessing it's because of the whole inclusion thing that Thea Hale was running with. That kind of triggered schism, I'm guessing. All right. The first match, Soul Ruka was defeated by Zoe Stark. This essentially was a dance. This was not a wrestling match. This was a dance competition. This was like Soul Train or something like that. I don't think they did any wrestling moves. Like, Soul Ruka is a fantastic athlete, but it's like all cartwheels and springboards and spots with her. It's not any real like wrestling, she seems like another Bianca Belair, because Bianca Belair's style is very similar, where, I know that Bryan Alvarez gets triggered by chin locks, but wrestling should have holes in it. There should be somebody should grab an ankle lock. Somebody should grab an arm bar. You know, somebody should grab a knee bar or something like that. We don't get a lot of that out of new wrestlers, you know. So for a new style wrestling match, this was fine though. You know, the new style of wrestling match is all, I hate to say it, but it's all like Young Bucks, flippity doodads and stuff like that. So this was basically Ruka going through her spots, stuff that she did on Level Up, which I was fortunate enough to either see through clips. Yeah, I saw mostly through clips because I watched Level Up like once. I probably like one match on Level Up, which was a Ruka match. So she essentially did what she does on Level Up. And they all just basically spots. So it was fine. Zoe Stark wins. Ruka's a super athlete. I mean, she's tremendous. She's gonna, you know, if she has a personality, give her a gimmick or something like that, outside of just being a surfer chick, this could go somewhere. Zoe Stark, I don't know, man. Anyway, Zoe Stark continues to beat up Ruka after the match. And she beat her pretty much around the ring, and she kind of wandered into Ruka nailing her with the finish, which was cool. It was funny. During this match, though, was literally some hilarious stuff, too. As Booker T was questioning whether Bayley still had the Bayley Buddies. Now, the humor in that is, of course, the Bayley Buddies have been gone for like 5 years. So, him not knowing that Bayley doesn't have the Bayley Buddies anymore. And the crazy thing is, it's not that Booker T doesn't watch the product. It's like he's on the pregame shows. It's just, I don't get it. I don't get why he is this way. Why he asks these simple questions that are, have you actually watched the show at any point? If he had watched a Bayley match within the last 5 or 6 years, he would know there are no Bayley Buddies. But that popped me more than this match did, if we're being honest. All right. They showed the clip of Grayson Waller being suspended for harassing Shawn Michaels during the post-show conference call. This was pretty good, of course. Grayson Waller, you know, saying, what does it take to be one of your guys? You know, do I have to put hearts on my trunks? Do I got to do your pose, huh? You know, I don't know where he was going with this, but it was pretty good. You know, he called Sean Ross Sapp a simp. He called him Sean Ross Simp. It was great. This led to Tyler Bate saying that he doesn't appreciate that Grayson Waller is being disrespectful to Shawn Michaels. And since he wants to disrespect somebody next week when his suspension is over, he can disrespect him to his face. And I was like, okay. Again, European guy, Grayson Waller is actually something, though. Grayson Waller is a piece of work. And that guy's good. Tyler Bate, though, shrug. I liked him in NXT UK. Can't really vouch for him now, though. All right, Dabba-Kato defeated Dante Chen. The only thing about this match is Dabba-Kato really did some serious damage to Dante Chen's chest. I mean, he chopped the shit out of this guy. He beat the tar out of this guy. He whooped his ass. After this match, you would think Dante Chen got attacked by leeches or something like that. His chest was incredibly red. The crowd was chanting Dante don't die, or don't die Dante. And he got way too much offense in. This match was much longer than it should have been, and it was ridiculous. Anyway, Dabba-Kato was questioned after the match about why did he do what he did to Apollo Crews, to which he says Apollo knows why he did it, and that's why he had to drop his ass. And I was like, okay, if you say so. All right, so we go check in with Diamond Mine, where Julius once again apologizes to Ivy for knocking her off the ring apron. Ivy's a tough old bird. She's okay with that. Anyway, they want revenge on Indu's share, which is the first thing that they think of after, hey, Ivy, I'm sorry. Now let's go get revenge on them goddamn Indu's share. So, out of nowhere, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn decided to accuse Tatum Paxley of attacking Nikita Lyons in the parking lot. I don't know why they the detectives all of a sudden. Anyway, Paxley gave a bunch of excuses to why she was working out in the gym, yada, yada, yada. And then they said, well, you're not a member of Diamond Mine. And she didn't say that she was. The others didn't say that she was. But that became sort of the question. She's been hanging around Diamond Mine so much. Why is she not a full member yet? But she had to wrestle Isla Dawn one-on-one, and was probably the quietest match on the show. Because Isla Dawn, still pretty new. I like Isla Dawn. She's got some experience. But Tatum Paxley, well, we ain't seen much of her at all. Well, she's been mostly on a tag team with Ivy Nile. Like, as a solo act, we haven't seen anything out of Tatum Paxley. So, I don't think anybody cared about this match. Anyway, Isla Dawn won anyway. So, it is what it is. Isla Dawn and Alba Fire is about to do something sinister to Tatum Paxley after the match when Ivy Nile came and ran them off. This is actually believable considering Ivy Nile is, jacked. So, even though it's one chick against two, the muscle mass on the two that were standing there does not equal the muscle mass of the one that was coming to the ring. So she looks a lot more like a legit fighter than either Isla Dawn or Alba Fire. So, I guess that's where we're going with these girls, is Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley as a team against Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. I don't know. This Alba Fire and Isla Dawn thing happened too fast, as far as I'm concerned. It happened a little too fast. Could have slowed down on this one a little bit. Alba Fire should probably be on the main roster, to be quite honest. But, it is what it is. WrestleMania is going to be coming up, so people are going to be getting called up soon, which means there's probably going to be some people getting released soon. Things are not going to be looking good for certain people. All right, Roxanne Perez. She was talking about how she had so much pressure on her at Vengeance Day, being her first title defense, and being outside of the Performance Center. She was nervous, yada, yada, yada. She's being a white meat babyface. She's being boring. Out of nowhere, KC Squared comes out of there, and they're pissed about getting screwed over. And they just decided they were going to be bitchy. So they're like, yeah, congratulations to you. Of course, you won. We got screwed, and we're not even going to guarantee the rematch. So they kind of go off on her and then say, is she going to make sure they get a rematch? Which is not her job, of course. It's not her job to make sure they get a rematch. Then KC Squared say that Roxanne Perez has no friends, which Roxanne reminds them she was a tag team champion. And they say, well, how did that work out for you? So again, KC Squared only has the same thing to say over and over again. We're a real team. We're really friends. You have no friends. You have nothing. We're a real tag team, blah, 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 blah. So, essentially, Roxanne Perez is challenged to find a tag team partner to fight them. And she says she's going to do that. And then she disappears for like an hour. When she comes back, we find out that her tag team partner is Meiko Satomura. That ought to be fun. That ought to be legit. Not going to hold you up. I kind of like that idea. I like Meiko Satomura, even though she's like 48 years old. All right. Match 5. Valentina Feroz is defeated by Lyra Valkyria. Valentina Feroz has Wendy Chu in her corner. And Wendy Chu is being her sort of hype man, I guess you could say. At one point, Valentina Feroz is, fighting from underneath. And Elektra Lopez slides in some brass knuckles to Valentina. More temptation for the young lady. Wendy Chu is yelling that Valentina doesn't need the brass knuckles. She can handle this. She's got it. She turns around, gets spin kicked in the face by Lyra Valkyria and pinned. There's a lot of distraction finishes on this show. A lot of distraction finishes. A lot. A lot of people hanging out outside the ring, running into the ring. Just a lot of people hanging around. Like, you would think eventually people would take notice to how many people literally just hang around the arena. But Lyra Valkyria wins, and her do-gooder nature is what caused Valentina Feroz to win. All right, we're still telling that story. All right. Wendy Chu sucks. So hopefully Valentina and Elektra Lopez is a fun team. We get a Wesley Vengeance Day vlog that starts with him wearing a Jiffy Pop bag on his head to when he won his match. His wife was in it, so it was kind of nice. It was pretty dope. This was my favorite thing that they've done with Wesley in a long time. Speaking of Wesley, I think this should have been a note, but I think it fits here perfectly. MJF actually went online and vouched for Zachary Wentz and said that he doesn't think that he's an anti-Semite, and it's shameful that Zachary Wentz is not on national TV because of the old Hitler mustache thing that came from his bitter ex-wife. And I thought that was a real stand-up thing for MJF to do. I didn't mind that. I thought that was pretty cool. Especially for somebody who he didn't have to go out on a limb and say anything for the fucking guy. One way or the other, he didn't have to say anything. So it was kind of nice that he kind of went out there and was like, yeah, Wesley. He didn't say anything about Wesley, but he did stand up for Zachary Wentz. I thought that was pretty cool. All right, so back to NXT. Wesley says he's going to put an open challenge next week after he was confronted by Tony D'Angelo and Stax, who wanted, quote, fair compensation for them helping him win over Dijak. He said he didn't ask for that. But he's going to have an open challenge. They would fight him right now, but Stax has some business to take care of. And then they went to take care of that business. Now, the business that they went to take care of was Stax defeating Odyssey Jones. And Shawn Michaels, I'm telling you, he is permanently damaged. Whatever, guys like Barbarian and Ming did to him in the early 90s where they wouldn't sell for him, he is taking it out on all of the big guys now. There are no big guys in NXT that are over. None. If you're 6 feet in NXT, you're probably not over. Okay? Just they're not doing anything to help you. Even if you're getting matches, it does not matter. You're losing to midgets all day. Losing to midgets all day. There is not one big man, and not one, that is over. Dabba-Kato literally just popped up out of nowhere. And he wasn't over before this. So we're in this position now where they're not helping. Having Stax beat Odyssey Jones. Of all the people on the roster to have Stax beat, why Odyssey Jones? Why him? There's plenty of people back there that he could have beat. Why did it have to be Odyssey Jones? That's tough. That's a tough one, man. That one doesn't sit right with me. I don't like that. All right, Drew Gulak and Hank Walker, they were talking about something or other, where Charlie Dempsey showed up, said that Hank Walker is not good enough, and it doesn't matter what Hank Walker wears in terms of his ring gear. He just doesn't have the talent. And that Hank Walker, who wanted to answer the open challenge next week, he's not good enough. So essentially, Dempsey and Walker agreed to have a match next week. So that was pretty much it. All right, so the last little piece of business here is a promo by Jinder Mahal and Indus Sher, where they feel like they have gotten the respect that they deserve, but they're still not as beloved as they are in India. So they feel like they won't get that respect until they're all draped in gold, essentially. So that was NXT. It was a solid show. Solid might be pushing it because everything seemed like they were building the show as it was going on, which is a WWE trope that I generally dislike. It's like a reality TV show where, like Russell House, two characters get into an argument and then all of a sudden, let's go have a match. And it's like, we can have a match right now. It's like, why isn't anything on this show scheduled? Like, why is there nothing scheduled on this show? The only thing that was scheduled, that was promoted to be on this show, was the Ding Dong Hello segment. Everything else was like last minute thrown at the screen. And I'm guessing they did this because the State of the Union is going on. And so they don't want to put anything really good on it because they feel like it might, get overshadowed by old man Biden bumbling through some speech. I don't know why wrestling got so scared of stuff like that. Like, you put it on weak Raws because, the football game is on. Putting on soft NXTs because the State of the Union is going to be on or whatever. It's like, when did they start doing this crap? I remember when Raw, I wouldn't even be able to tell it was a football game on Monday. because they still do the same thing that they did all the time. I don't know, man. It's gotten really odd. It's really, really odd. But this wasn't a strong episode of NXT. It was not. Next week looks to be a little bit stronger as we build towards Stand and Deliver. So that open challenge ought to be fun. I'm interested in who's going to take it up. But who do you guys think it will be? Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out, man.